Guys, Swifty here, doing my last wide receiver scouting report breakdown before moving on to my wide receiver sleepers video and my wide receiver rankings. Before I get into Jalen, Tolbert, Jahan, Dotson, and Skyy, I wanted to briefly mention the four players I'm not covering: Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, and Jameson Williams. All four should be first round picks. Three of the four have played with Justin Fields before, so for now I'll be skipping these four guys as I have watched tape on all four of them, and they are all really good. Wilson has a lot of Jerry Jeudy or Justin Jefferson in his game. Olave reminds me so much of Darnell Mooney. Jameson Williams is a lot like Deshaun Jackson or a smaller Tyreek Hill. And Drake London has a lot of Mike Evans, Vincent Jackson, and Michael Pittman in his game. They are all good, but they should all be gone by the time the Bears pick, and I don't expect us to trade up. If we landed any of those four, I would be ecstatic, and like I've said, I will release a full scouting report on every player that we do draft. That being said, we're holding off on those four now. Leave me a comment if you really want me to break them down. But that being said, let's get into the three breakdowns I have for you today. Today we have three players I am very excited to talk about. We have Jalen Tolbert, the smooth wide receiver from Southern Alabama. We have Jahan Dotson, the Darnell Mooney-esque speedster from Penn State. And we have Skyy, the wrecking ball from Western Michigan. Let's get into it. First up is the 6'1", 200-pound kid with 4.49 speed out of Southern Alabama. Jalen Tolbert has everything you look for in a boundary wide receiver. He is smooth on film with the size-speed combo to threaten defenses vertically and across the middle of the field. He shows the ability to high point the ball and make contested catches. He has incredible balance, smooth footwork, and the strength to fight through contact. He is a playmaker with great hands, but is still a bit raw overall. Tolbert's blocking is questionable. His hands are inconsistent. Like some of the other guys, he had too many concentration drops or moments where he took his eye off the ball a bit too early to make a play. His route running is very good, but it needs a lot of work before he could become a number one option in the NFL. He needs to polish his route running and learn to set up DBs without wasting steps. He tends to round out his routes frequently. Jalen Tolbert has the upside of a number one receiver who is a great fit at the X, but could also play the Z and move into the slot. I think he will start his career off as a number 4 receiver with the potential to develop into a number 1. Mocks have him going between the 2nd and 4th round. I saw a lot of Terry McLaurin in his game with some shades of Gabriel Davis. My favorite comp for Tolbert is an old favorite of mine, former Seattle Seahawk, Warren Robinson. His range of outcomes is wide as he's a 23-year-old rookie who still lacks polish, but he has all the potential to be great. I wouldn't mind taking Tolbert anywhere after pick 39. If he somehow falls to the 3rd, I think he could be a huge steal. I could see him earning a starting spot for the Bears early in his career. He wouldn't be the number 1 option, as Mooney and Kmet would take the top 2 roles, allowing Tolbert to battle Pringle for targets while he polishes his route running and becomes stronger and a better blocker. Next up, we have the 5'10 speedster from Penn State, Jahan Dotson. Dotson is one of the best deep threats in the entire draft class. He's an explosive playmaker with incredible long speed. He can attack all 3 levels of the defense and consistently generates separation from DBs. He has great hands with a large catch radius, especially for someone of his size. He is known to lay out for tough catches and consistently make highlight reel level of plays that remind me of a young Odell Beckham. Honestly, I see a ton of Darnell Mooney in his game, with even a little bit of Tyler Lockett. He is explosive with the burst to leave defenders in the dust. He lacks the strength to beat press coverage, but he makes up for it with incredible footwork. His route tree is expansive, but he does need to polish a little bit as he develops. Dotson has a thin frame, and he lacks the strength to be a great blocker. He doesn't win a lot of 50-50 balls, and he can be bullied by more physical defensive backs. He will need to add play strength and might have to start his career as a slot receiver, but he should develop into a day two steal and a legit deep threat in the NFL. For Bears fans, I feel he's a little too similar to Darnell Mooney. I love Dotson, and I think it could work, but I prefer a more physical wideout to play the X across from Mooney. That being said, if we did take him, it wouldn't be awful. Having two guys with elite ability to create separation and threaten defenses deep wouldn't be awful. I definitely would prefer Jalen Tolbert, Pickens, Watson, Bell, or Dobbs to pair with Mooney. That being said, Dotson will be a playmaker in the NFL, and you guys who play fantasy football should get to know his name. Finally, we get to Skyy Moore, the 5'9", 195-pound wrecking ball from Western Michigan. This kid plays the game with an aggressive, physical nature that you love to see. He is so fun to watch. He is more of a shifty, quick receiver who wins with short area quickness and acceleration than with deep speed. He reminds me so much of Golden Tate with some shades of Steve Smith to his game as well. He will be a weapon in the NFL as a physical slot receiver who is dangerous with the ball in his hands. Moore has excellent hands and footwork and is a polished route runner. He is dangerous after the catch and can be tough to tackle. He's a bit undersized and will not offer much as a blocker at the NFL level. He also lacks the size you look for in an outside receiver or the deep speed to take the top off a defense. This likely limits him to a slot role in the NFL. I think Moore is a great pick for whatever team gets him and would love to see him in Chicago. He would not fill our need as an X receiver, but slot guys have homes in the NFL. Cooper Kupp is a slot receiver, so was Golden Tate. Devontae Adams and a lot of the NFL's best receivers often move to the slot. Skyy Moore is going to be good in the NFL, and if he came to Chicago, he would be a dangerous slot guy for years to come and would complement Mooney well. If we added Skyy Moore, I would look to add a more physical outside receiver later in the draft. David Bell and Romeo Dobbs are two names that come to mind that would fit perfectly. Also, come back tomorrow for the wide receiver sleepers video to see what other guys would fit if we were to add a slot receiver like Skyy Moore or even Wan'Dale Robertson or Khalil Shakir that I broke down another day. Or another slot guy. There's plenty of them in this draft. The class is deep. Thanks for watching, guys. This was my last wide receiver scouting report video for the time being. I'll now focus on other positions and the specialty videos like the sleepers and top fits for the Bears. Be sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't subbed yet, get on board now. We are going places. Until next time, bear down.